I have only one tip to give to you based on Vivien's speech. Unfortunately, I'm going to repeat myself with number one a few times because that's the way this speech was designed. Now, I like evaluating icebreakers. Icebreakers are for new Toastmasters who are new into Toastmasters and learning how to introduce themselves, but they are also for experienced Toastmasters who've been around for a long time because there's no one way you can introduce yourself. I've done this speech before. I've done an icebreaker many, many, many times, and I'm going to continue to do them because every time I have an opportunity to introduce myself, I discover something new about myself. And as does everybody else, discover something new about me. The first thing I noticed about her presentation in her icebreaker was it was just another story. It was a window into Vivien's life. From her career, she's a professional broadcaster. She has lots of camera awareness. She looks right down the camera and she's making eye contact with everybody in the room, even though she's scanning around and looking within everybody else that's on screen. When she's making her points, she is looking right down the camera, making eye-to-eye contact. I like that. I don't know how many tips were actually in this speech that were given as our educational moment because they were all number one. And that made a very useful point, which is no one of those tips is more important than all of the rest of those tips. It was a great story and an introduction to how she got into professional speaking, which I find a bit inspiring because I'm kind of on the cusp of every time I publish something up to my YouTube channel, I get a poke from one of my friends that says, "Are you getting paid for this yet?" And it's only yet, that last word, yet. I know there's a moment where I'll be able to answer yes, and I'm looking forward to that moment. I love the abbreviations, your acronym, your AGV, always give value. That is a good point. Always working on that. That number one tips, just not even scaling all of the tips through to number them 1 through 3 through 10 through whatever. It's all perfect. Now, here's some comments I would have, some feedback that I could give as opportunities to change things. And this is very specific to our venue. You're a professional broadcaster. You're used to being on a time with a very close clock, very close clock, very close clock. Every one of your points was coming through very fast. There was no opportunity to pause and take a breath. It's like a wall of sound coming for the entire 4 to 6 minutes. Every idea came out very well built, very well structured, very easy to follow. But I feel like in our environment here, for this kind of an audience, that moment for that pause is useful, which is the only feedback I can really give to challenge yourself, because I'm at the red and I'm out of time for my evaluation. So I'm hoping I've given any kind of constructive feedback that is good for that. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Ray, for that excellent evaluation. And now I'm going to call on our